We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
And, I think you'll like the way we play.
That might be asking too much.
No, Ed, we in fact did not like the way you played.
No, don't like that.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, episode 94 of Vikings Uncensored. Wish we were coming to you guys with a preview this week of our divisional round matchup versus the 49ers, but unfortunately, we are not.
We reverted back to your typical Minnesota Vikings team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I fully expected us to win last week and get our asses handed to us in the divisional round, but I guess it's the only bright spot is it saved us the embarrassment of San Francisco humiliating us with another 30-point blowout or something.
Well, who knows? Either way, we're not going to San Francisco, so
nope.
If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear flowers in her hair. I think, right?
I have no idea, but
you don't know that song?
I know. Yeah, I know the song, but I don't remember the words off the top of my head.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. At least you know the song.
Yeah, I know. Of course, I know the song.
Did I really sing it that bad?
I'm older. Yeah, you did, but
I did. I know.
I'm older than you. I remember when that. That's song come back from more closer to my era than it is your era, but
still good shit. Still good music.
Well, yeah. But anyway, we got quite a bit of news stuff going on that we'll go over. We'll do our obligatory recap quickly of the playoff loss.
Sucks recapping the losses.
Mm-hmm. Do a little bit of an end of season wrap up. Then look ahead to the divisional round, even though we are no longer involved in the tournament. Of course, our Brunswick's best later on in the show, and whatever else we can come up with along the way. So, of course, being the, we've already had a series of firings going on after the season ended. Had some more this week after the Chargers' inexplicable blowing a 27-point lead against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the wild card round. The Chargers fired offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi. Now, there was, a lot of speculation that head coach Brandon Staley was going to get the axe, but apparently he is safe for one more year. Then came out on Wednesday, I believe it was, possibly Thursday. The Dolphins fired their defensive coordinator, Josh Boyer. He's been with the team for 3 years. Now, he was a holdover from Flores's regime. Yep. So this is part of this, I'm sure, is McDaniel just getting his own guys in there kind of a thing. Then did have some hirings also. One more rumor going around, but is not official yet. For somebody who had such a bright future of possibly being a head coach last year, rumors are abounding in Tampa Bay that offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich may be out the door sooner.
Right.
rather than later.
I thought it was all but confirmed that he was getting fired down there in Tampa.
It hasn't happened yet, and we're recording Thursday evening here. So, but wouldn't surprise me to see it happen sooner rather than later. I don't know.
This is a scapegoat, man.
Yeah. Of course, the firing we're all waiting for to hear. We have not heard from yet, but we'll get into that in a little bit here too. But then there also has been a few hirings this week. Couple of general manager candidates positions have been filled. The Titans hired Ran Carthon as their new general manager. Now I know nothing about Carthon. Didn't care enough to go look it up. I just figured we'd mention it. Cardinals hired Monty Ossenfort,
Right, our
as
guy
their
Monty.
GM. And because remember, he was on our short list last year before we hired Quasey.
The heart and soul of Laverne, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. So nice to see him get a gig.
It's the Rocks throw away from me.
Yeah. Then, of course, a Vikings related potential coordinator deal. The New England Patriots have requested permission, and I believe got it, to interview Vikings wide receivers coach Keenan McCardell for their offensive coordinator position.
I mean, good for Ricardo. I hate to lose the guy, but
Yeah,
good for him though. In all honesty, he deserves a shot at OC.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I would hate to lose him because he has done a great job with Jefferson and
One of the few
and all the-
holdovers from Zimmer that everybody kind of wanted to stick around.
well, he was the only holdover from Zimmer, I believe. wasn't he?
Right.
But then on to some regular Vikings news. They signed several players to futures contracts this week and added onto the practice squad. Wide receivers Tristan Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
Blake Prohl, cornerback Tay Gowan, who actually got in on a few games this year for special teams. Tight end Nick Muse, outside linebacker Benton Whitley, outside linebacker Curtis Weaver, and center Josh Sokol, all signed to futures contracts. So they are under contract for next season anyway, for,
Right.
practice squad type stuff anyway. But beyond that, I've been pretty quiet on the Vikings front. Kevin O'Connell and Quasey had their press conference this week. We'll talk about that here too in a few minutes, but just we'll get it over with here. Let's do our obligatory recap of that playoff loss. For the most part, the offense did its job up until the last two drives.
I wasn't very pleased with that. I mean, and you already know what I'm going to say here with the cute play call and fourth down.
That stupid, that stupid Philly special play. No, and we've talked about this a little bit too. I mean, I love Kevin O'Connell. I love the culture he's brought, and for the most part, I love what he's done here. But it seems like later on in the season here, he's tried to get too cute a few times.
And his short yardage play.
Short yardage play calling leaves a lot to be desired. I think that's something he's going to have to work on in the offseason.
And that's on the short list of things that he could use some.
I mean, he's a rookie head coach. We all knew there was going to be some growing pains and stuff he's going to have to learn on the fly. But
yep.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to buck it down and go old school and instead of trying to get cute and funky, and because the cute and funky stuff never works.
But you know what? At the end of the day, the game doesn't fall on that one play, but it would have been nice to have that play back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Otherwise, offensively, TJ Hawkinson had a pretty big day. I mean, he was, I believe our leading receiver.
He had a hell of a game.
Well, he basically had a hell of a season since he came over.
Yes, he did.
His numbers since week 9, 82 targets, which is second in the league for tight ends, 519 yards, also second in the league for tight ends, 10 contested catches, which is first among tight ends, and 8 catches of 15 or more yards, which is tied for 8th. So
I think the best is yet to come for Hawkinson and still for this offense in general. The best is yet to come under O'Connell's leadership.
yeah, but I mean, it just boils down to Hawkinson. That Hawkinson trade was pure genius. Probably the best trades he has made since he's been here.
It's one of the best trades that we've made in some years in Minnesota.
Probably since the Jared Allen trade, I would think.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive what he was able to do in the little bit of time that he had to learn the system and then to flourish in that system for the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
Irv Smith made a fucking Irv Smith drop that game too.
Yeah, of course. He did score a touchdown, but yeah, he had another very bad drop that I believe
on a critical play.
That would have been a first down had he caught it. Of course.
Goodbye.
Yep. The Kirk at the offensive line held up more or less. Kirk wasn't sacked, but he did get hit 11 times.
Yeah, he was rushed quite a bit.
And Dexter Lawrence absolutely killed us up the middle. We need somebody like Dexter Lawrence on our front line.
Yeah.
I want one.
No.
Yeah. Somebody that's just gonna fucking manhandle somebody.
Well, we need somebody who, and yeah, Lawrence ate Bradbury's lunch all day long. I mean,
and I think a lot of that had to do with just Bradbury not.
Yeah, he's been out for 5 weeks. He was rusty.
And the last person you want, I mean, not that it's on Bradbury, but the last person you want to fucking come out, facing is Dexter Lawrence. But what do you expect? You're going into a game where you need to win. That's somebody that you're gonna have to face.
Right. But anyway, over on the defensive side of things, or we're going to say the offensive side of things, because there wasn't any D to be found anywhere.
By the time the defense came around at the end of the game, it was almost too late already.
And they didn't even really come around then.
No. They were praying for a stop is what we were doing. We were all praying that our defense would just get one stop.
And that's all they got was one stop, I think, other than the end of the game, kneel downs, and they punted twice. But the Giants offense had a 90.3% success rate.
Dude, they were going, and this was like driving the whole fucking field.
Yeah, they had like a 20-play drive and a 15-play drive and 11-play drive.
That 20-play drive was killer and was basically what that game was in a bottle.
But
the ball on the 20-play drive, that's amazing. I mean, that's a hell of an offensive possession right there.
They were just letting them run wild. I mean, 142 yards rushing. Daniel Jones.
Not that one drive.
Yeah. Daniel Jones had 78 yards. Barkley only had 53, and he only carried it 9 times because they were able to throw it all over the yard. 301 yards passing.
Daniel Jones was the gas to that engine on Sunday.
Yep. Isaiah Hodgins again killed us for the second game in a row. 8 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Darius Slayton 4 for 88, and he's lucky it wasn't more than. We're lucky it wasn't more for that, because if he hadn't dropped that ball,
that would have been it right there.
Late in the game, he'd still be running.
Test time complete. Oh, it's dropped! What a huge play! So the clock will stop as Slayton had a free run with 3:03 to go. Enormous time for a drop.
Yeah, not only does it stop the clock, it ends the game, in essence. He catches that ball. He has nothing but green grass in front of him. He runs for the first down, and this game.
Right, and that would have been the game right there. That completion that he dropped, if he would have got that, that would have been it. Granted, we lost anyways.
Yeah, but it would have made the last drive irrelevant. And the defense did nothing to get better all season.
They might have played their worst game at the worst time of the season.
Yeah. That rolls back to, I think you're going to like the way we play. No, Ed, we don't. We did not. It was awful.
How do you trot that scheme out onto the field when you've trotted that same old scheme out there week after week after week after
And
week
changed
after
nothing.
week, and
I mean,
changed absolutely nothing?
You watch, you had our old, slow middle linebackers chasing across the field 5 yards behind the
You had
receivers.
fucking Neil Hunter covering wide receivers, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Instead of rushing the fucking quarterback, he's covering wide receivers.
And then you got Patrick Peterson lining up 12 yards off the fucking ball, line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Soft.
I don't know that I saw Cam Bynum or Harrison Smith more than once or twice the entire game. They were so far
No
off
disguises or whatsoever. No ramping up the blitzing at all.
No, I mean, it was.
I
don't think Donatel even game planned. You know, he made some comment.
Donatel's a fucking liar. He's a goddamn liar.
He made some comment about the veterans taking leadership role and stuff in practice and stuff. What did he do? Oh, hey, the vets have got this. I'm going to go have coffee. I'll see you guys later.
He's a fucking liar. You're going to like what you see. It's our time to shine.
Well, it's our time to shine as a defense.
We seen the same shit we seen the whole fucking season last Sunday.
Yeah. Your time to shine, you shined like a burnt out fucking light bulb.
Get somebody in here. I can't knock on the personality of the guy and the demeanor of the guy, but I can't stand the fucking guy. But get somebody in here that's going to do their goddamn job and to some point of success.
Yeah.
We're the worst fucking defense in the goddamn league.
Well, and since we're on this topic, we just as well roll into the end of season recap wrap up thing.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell was asked on Wednesday during the press conference about Donatel, and there wasn't a vote of confidence. He kind of sidestepped.
No.
Basically, he said all parts of the team are going to be analyzed and figured out. So and evaluated. So, you know, it's still very possible that Donatel.
He's not fucking sticking around. You got to fire his ass.
If you keep Donatel next year, you are going to lose all the goodwill you made with this fan base in season one.
I wouldn't go to that extreme, but it would really, really take a lot of air out of the fucking balloon. That's for sure.
I mean, it's going to let, as our buddies Drew and Ted coin it, the gloom start to creep back in if you keep that guy around here as your defensive coordinator.
You need somebody in here that's got a little bit of fucking attitude.
Yeah,
you know,
so get somebody that's on the same page as O'Connell, young, innovative,
but a little bit more gristly and fucking a little bit more of an attitude, but kind of like an enforcer. You know what I mean?
I mean, personally, I would like to see us sign Avero from Denver, because you know he's had a few head coaching interviews and maybe they're waiting to see if he gets a head coaching job first.
That would be a marriage made in heaven.
And O'Connell has experience or a prior relationship with him, so maybe there has been talk in the background. Maybe that's why they haven't done anything yet. That, hey, if you get a head coaching job, you know, congratulations on that. But if you don't, give us a call because we would be willing to have you in. Maybe
one of the small knocks on him is that he runs a Tampa 2, but you know what? Tampa 2 is starting to make a little bit of a comeback in this era of football.
Yeah, but here again, we're talking base defenses. Right now, I mean, our base defense isn't set up to run a 3-4 anyway. Granted, now there's going to be a lot of turnover and stuff.
Exactly.
Year,
that's what I'm saying for sure.
And that may shovel or kind of push the personnel more towards that 3-4. But I mean, when you're running hybrid schemes and this and that, everything else, it's all packages and sub packages more than, I mean, we ran the 3-4 base 25% of the time this year, according to O'Connell, was it.
Mm-hmm.
But we ran that,
Our offense
but we
is
ran
what
that
ultimately brought us to the playoffs.
Yeah, we ran the 3 high shell coverage 95% of the time. I know 95 and 25 doesn't equal 100, but you know what I mean. Then
1 second.
you know, they were talking.
Ed Donatel has officially been released by the Minnesota Vikings.
What?
Yes.
Where do you see that?
Minnesota Sports Talk is live.
Hold on. Really?
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Just popped up on my computer.
Yep. It's on Pro Football Talk too. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Since we recording on Friday, we just got down with
10 records, Omen.
Ed Donatel has been relieved of his duties as defensive coordinator. Of course, by the time you see this tomorrow night, it will be old news, but you heard it here kind of first.
Yeah, right.
Thank God.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank God. Rhino. Hell yes. Thank you, Kevin O'Connell.
Yes.
Get his ass out of there.
Yes. Thank you. All right. That just put a whole new spin on the attitude of the show here.
Of having.
So we'll obviously we'll talk more about the Ed Donatel stuff. Let me this is from Pro Football Talk. Vikings have fired defensive coordinator Ed Donatel. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell announced the move today, a day after declining to answer whether Donatel would return.
God.
Today, I informed Ed Donatel we will be going in a different direction at defensive coordinator in 2023, O'Connell said in a statement. Well, this is a difficult decision because I have tremendous respect I have for Ed as a person and a coach. I believe it is the right move for the future of our football team. I want to thank Ed for his commitment to the Vikings this past season, for the positive impact he had on our players and coaches, and for his role in helping me as a first-year head coach lay the foundation.
You showed your cojones there, O'Connell, by doing your first order of firing. So it shows the fans that you're willing to get rid of somebody for the betterment of the team, regardless.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to take exception with Florio on this last paragraph in here. It says the 65-year-old Donatel is a longtime NFL defensive coordinator who will surely have offers if he wants to join another coaching staff.
I don't think so. I have to disagree with that,
No.
Florio.
I mean, as a position coach, maybe, but he's not going to be a defensive coordinator anymore.
No, he's not going to have that much of a reins on one side of the ball.
No.
He might be a consultant like Patine was for us this year somewhere, but
yeah. But
thank God.
Yes. All right. So we'll move on now to a few other things of note in the offseason. Of course, we mentioned a lot of old favorites probably not going to be around next year due to our salary cap situation. As it sits right now, Thursday night after signing those 7 players to the futures contracts, we currently sit at $24,551,507 over the cap.
Right.
So, you know, there's going to be some of these high cap numbers next year. Of course, Kirk is at 36.25. He's most likely here because he's got.
I'm thinking he's going to get extended. Maybe it might be another 3-year deal.
You got to remember, he's 35 years, going to be 35 years old too. I mean, extending for 3 years, he's up to 38. I don't go that long, but we'll save the Kirk contract discussion for another day because
we got all off season to discuss that.
He's got 1 more year left on his deal.
Regardless,
he's got a no trade clause. He's going to be the quarterback next year, most likely. Then Adam Thielen,
I've heard
of
rumors
course.
the Jets don't being interested in him.
Adam
Probably the Colts too.
Yes. Okay. Can I continue?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest 800-pound gorilla in the room right now, Adam Thielen with a 19.97, not you. $19.97 million cap hit for next year. Now we have a lot of stuff coming out on Instagram the last few days. Adam Thielen's wife posting
Fucking
on
social
there,
media, dude.
making comments about Adam Thielen wanting to go someplace where he feels valued and wants opportunities to show that you can still play. Okay, dude, you're going to be 33 years old here in a few months. You
That's a
haven't,
geriatric receiver right there.
you have not had a 100-yard game since week 3 of 2021.
Oh, wow.
He
Not
had,
bad mouthing feeling here, people.
no, I'm just stating facts here. You are not the number one wide receiver on this team. Justin Jefferson is the number one wide receiver in the league. You up until a year or so ago, Adam Thielen was one of the best wide receivers against man coverage. This year, he is one of the 5 or 6 worst.
Yeah.
And the emergence of TJ Hawkinson, which I think partially in the reason why he's here, not just because Irv Smith went out, but because Adam Thielen had fallen off the cliff so far production wise, that they brought him in, and Hawkinson was wide receiver 2 basically all year.
Right.
And looking at the emergence of KJ Osborne the last 3-4 weeks out of the season, I mean, he had a couple of 100-yard receiving games. He had, he was kind of moving ahead of Thielen. He definitely had from a production
Thielen's
standpoint.
been around. He's been with this team for a long time. And I appreciate all the things he has done.
Absolutely. And
in his time here, but at some point, there always comes that hard time, especially for some fans more than others, when it's time to move on to something new and hopefully bring us back to where we were at when Thielen was in his prime as far as receivers go.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Adam Thielen, great. The story, everybody knows the story. He played for his childhood favorite team for 10 years.
Right. It's sad that we couldn't get the job done with Thielen, but I still want to get the job done whether he's here or not.
Right. When it all boils down to it, the NFL is a business. We are not running a retirement home for fan favorite, old, over the hill players. Right. And again, I'm not knocking Thielen.
Exactly. You got to point that out right now, because some people are automatically whenever you're critical of anyone, automatically think that you don't like the person.
And Adam Thielen's going to go down as one of the
best Vikings receivers in history.
7, 8 to 10, somewhere in that mid top 10 range of receivers in Vikings history. He'll probably be a Ring of Honor guy someday.
Right. Yeah.
But it comes down to, it's a business. Another one, Harrison Smith, his cap number next year, 19.13 million. I can very easily see him gone as well. I mean, we talked about this last year. We thought he probably should have been traded or let go.
Granted, he had a good year this year.
He did.
But like you said, we're getting right there at the same spot with Thielen, as far as age goes and veteran,
I mean, safety is a little different, but you could tell on a lot of stuff coverage wise this year, and some of it probably was scheme too, but Thielen was starting to look slower out there too. Then the next one, Zadarius Smith, 16.99 million if we keep him around.
And there's no dead money in that.
It's contract. It's like $1 million or $2 million, or under $3 million, I think, anyway, in dead money. So it's very minimal if we don't bring him back. I'm torn on that. If he plays like he did the first half of the season, absolutely, I want him back.
Right.
If he plays like the second half of the season, thank you for the year, and we'll see you down the road.
Or is he willing to take a rotational role on the team?
Something.
Right. I don't know which of that, in which I highly doubt he'd want to do. So
probably not. Then the other fan favorite that's going to cause a whole lot of heartburn among the fan base, Dalvin Cook, $14.1 million.
All these guys are polarizing, in my opinion.
Now, I'm sorry, and I've made this abundantly clear in the past. I am not a fan of giving a running back a big second contract. And Dalvin Cook was another one that started looking slow this year. We cannot pay Dalvin Cook $14 million.
Well, yeah, when the second string running back is legitimately starting to outperform the first string running back, that's when you gotta start saying, "Hey, man."
Well, And here again, I'm not knocking Dalvin Cook. He did win us a couple of games this year, or played a big part in us winning a couple
Right.
of games.
And momentum swinging.
Yep.
plays.
You know, he had over 1,000 yards rushing, but there were several games where he just absolutely disappeared too.
Yeah. Yep.
Then there's two other ones. Danielle Hunter, he's coming into the final year of his contract. We're gonna have to.
No, I
something
think there's
out
some
there.
value in Daniil as far as compensation.
Yeah,
So-
I think they try to work out a way to keep Hunter around here. Now,
I mean, even as far as like a trade for some picks, you know.
yeah,
for
there is
upcoming
that.
draft.
But now, of course, with the breaking news we just had, it's going to be interesting to see who we bring in here to run the defense
And who they want to keep around.
how they want. Yeah, and that's why we needed to do this sooner rather than later. So you have the new coordinator in here with his vision as to how he wants to use the players that we're going to keep, who we don't need to keep, and things like that.
Next week, we'll have to look at a list of coordinators that are out there.
Yep, if we don't have somebody hired by then.
Right.
Then the other big one, of course, Eric Kendricks at 11.4 million.
He's right in that group too. Of the, you know, of the heartbeat of what this team was the last 10 years. Those guys are it.
Mhm. I think, especially if we stay in a 3-4 next year, Kendricks is as good as gone.
You need somebody. You need linebackers with a lot of speed in the
Mhm.
3-4 system.
Yeah. And he doesn't have the speed, and Hicks doesn't have the speed either. Hicks is better against the run, but he can't.
And they
cover.
would fare much better in right at this point in their career in probably a 4-3.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about that last year too, that we didn't think Eric Kendricks was going to be a fit for a 3-4 defense
Though he made it work
to a point.
to a point. But there were parts of his game that completely struggled because of it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Then one other thing, I guess, kind of for the end of season wrap up here. One of the things that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah had said at his press conference on Wednesday was that the team has started initial discussions with Justin Jefferson's camp on a contract extension.
Good.
And Jefferson made the comment, I believe it was Wednesday, that when they asked him about working on contract extension, he said, he wants to win. And he said, if the Vikings want me here, I'm here. So
That's what you want to hear as a fan too.
mhm. So, I mean, I think there's a good chance. I mean, and Jefferson's going to break the bank. Now, the nice thing about it is Jefferson still has his 5th-year option. So any contract extension for Jefferson's not going to kick in until the 2024 season. So we'll get him on a still relatively cheap 5th-year option this year. And then, you know, in 2023, when more of this stuff comes off the books, then that's when his big numbers are going to start hitting.
Right. Yep.
But beyond that, I guess about does it for our season wrap, unless you have anything else you want to hit right now.
We got the whole offseason to
Yep.
discuss this past season. So if
Absolutely.
there's anything I missed, we'll definitely nail it down at some point in the next future episode.
Right.
So
All right. So with that, we're going to roll into another one of our classic beer commercials. So head on over to the fridge, grab yourself a cold one, crack it open, check this out, and we will be back in a minute.
From the land of sky blue waters, from the land of pine's lofty blossoms, from the beer refreshing.
Pour an ice-cold Hams and treat yourself to the premium beer from the land of sky blue waters. Great tasting Hams.
Hams, the beer refreshing. Hams, the beer refreshing. Hams.
At a time like this, you probably don't care that we use only carefully selected hops, or the finest grains, or pure artesian brewing water. But you'd taste the difference if we didn't, so we do. Olympia, it's the water, and a lot more.
All right, we are back. And even though Vikings football is done for the year, the NFL rolls on this week in the divisional round. So we will run through the games here real quick and give a couple of high points maybe and make our picks. Starting off Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Central Time, the Jacksonville Jaguars, after that amazing come from behind victory against the Chargers last week, this week have the pleasure of going to Arrowhead and playing the Kansas City Chiefs.
They're going to have to play a perfect game if they want to walk out of Kansas City with a win. Of course, I'm rooting for the underdog here. No disrespect to Kansas City because they are who they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to see Jacksonville go into the red sea of red and upset Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't think they have much of a chance. I think that this game is going to be
comes down to the Jaguars defense versus Patrick Mahomes.
Yep. But I think this one probably has the potential to be the biggest blowout of the weekend. I'm taking Kansas City. Mahomes and company are who they are.
That's that exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And
but I'm just going to go with the Jaguars because it's a good feel-good story, and I'd love to see that underdog overcome that obstacle.
Yeah. All right, then Saturday night game, the New York Giants travel to the Link to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now we've got, of course, another divisional round matchup. These guys played each other twice already during the regular season. We saw the Giants, of course, last week. Philly had their bye week, which is helping Jalen Hurts get healed up a little bit more.
Right.
He didn't look all that good in week 18 when he played.
I think the Giants could easily come in and win this game. I think they're after that emotional win against us and that confidence that comes along with that type of win, going into somebody else's house and doing that, they could easily go into Philly and do the same thing they did to us, to Philly.
Maybe, but we have to also remember that Philadelphia's defense does not give up 400 and some yards a game.
That's true. That's true.
Philly's not going to let Hodgins and those guys run wild on them like we did. I think Philly with the week off, they're the number one seed for a reason. They're going to take care of business this week.
I'm going to stick with that blue magic and go with the G-Men this week.
Okay. We're split on the first two games. Then on
I absolutely believe Kansas City is going to win that game, but I'm picking Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But anyways, continuing along with the next one.
All right. Then on Sunday, we have the other two games starting off 2 p.m. Central. The Cincinnati Bengals travel to Orchard Park to take on the Buffalo Bills. Now, this is
a good one.
Yeah, this is the game that didn't get played, of course, a couple weeks ago. That was in Cincinnati, but due to the DeMar Hamlin situation, this is going to be a toss-up.
Yeah,
I think Cincinnati feels a little slighted over that.
I think Cincy's going to win this game. That's my pick right there.
It would not surprise me one bit. I mean, I know I have Buffalo picked to make it to the Super Bowl, but I honestly think Cincinnati is going to take this one. Josh Allen has not played great the last few weeks.
That's exactly why I'm taking Cincy in this game, is because of the way that Allen has been playing in recent weeks. It's not the Josh Allen that was playing to begin the season.
No, and Buffalo's run game is not that great. Cincinnati has a good run game. Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine have both played pretty well.
Perine is really starting to find the groove.
Yeah, he's found himself a spot there in Cincy. And then of course
you got the triple threat of fucking T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd is nobody to fuck with either.
And then of course you've got Joe Cooler at quarterback, who
exactly, and that defense is good enough to get you a championship.
Their defense is not bad. I mean,
it's good enough.
they are one of the top 3-4 defenses in the AFC. So
Yeah.
Screw it up. I know Buffalo was my pick to win the Super Bowl, but I think Cincinnati's winning this game.
And Cincy, they know what it takes to get there, and they've already been there. And their heads are right in the mind space, that needs to be.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
All right. Then the final game we have Sunday night. I think kickoff is 5:30. The Dallas Cowboys head out to Santa Clara to take on the San Francisco 49ers.
Fuck them boys.
Yeah,
Dak Prescott's going to be Dak Prescott. Brock Purdy is going to find a way to win. And that defense in San Francisco is going to take care of business.
I think that defense in San Francisco is going to curb stomp Dak Prescott. He's probably going to turn the ball over a couple times.
Exactly. You're taking exactly what I...
San Francisco, we've talked about this way more than we probably should have all season long. San Francisco's defense is about the only defense in the league that really scared me. And I think they're going to be able to shut down Pollard and keep those keep things tight. Without that run game, Dallas's pass game is nowhere near as effective.
And really, all Purdy has to do is manage the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, be a basic game manager.
Yeah, and he's done a pretty decent job of that so far. So
That's what she said.
As much as I want to see this kid be brought back down to earth, now that we're out of the playoffs, win me over, Purdy. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, so that'll do her for the. I'm picking San Francisco. I guess we forgot to.
Yeah. All
right, so
I'm never picking the Cowboys ever.
No.
Ever.
Drew Pearson pushed off, asshole. All right, so we agree on 2 and we split the other 2. So.
Yep.
All right, so with that, we have reached the best segment of the show once again. As this week we take a look back at the players who have worn number 94 in this week's edition of Brunswick's Best. So roll that beautiful bean footage, Lance, and tell us who you got on that list.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
All right, so this week I got a list of one brief mention of somebody that actually happens to still be on the team. So with that being said, my list of 1 consists of Mr. Pat Williams himself. Now, Pat went undrafted in the 1997 NFL Draft and signed with the Buffalo Bills as an undrafted free agent the same year. Undrafted. He played at just 1 game his rookie season. During his final 4 seasons with the Bills, he started in all but 4 games and was, in my opinion, extremely underrated in that time. He became a free agent after the 2004 season. So prior to the 2005 season, Williams ended up signing with the Minnesota Vikings, the first signing for the team into the 2005 free agency, and was a priority signing that year. Actually following the advice of then defensive coordinator Mike Tomlin, Williams lost 15 pounds in the offseason. Williams played nose tackle in the Minnesota Vikings 4-3 defense, with teammate Kevin Williams playing under the other tackle position, the 3-tack, who we also discussed last week.
Yes.
They were known collectively as the Williams Wall, as well as the Williams Wrecking Crew, due to their physical presence at the line of scrimmage, an attribute that helped them lead the Vikings to the best rushing defense in the league for 3 consecutive seasons, from 2006 until 2008. Now, as a player for the Vikings, he was selected to his first Pro Bowl in 2006. He followed that with consecutive selections in 2007 and 2008. He was also a second-team All-Pro in 2007. So not only was Williams underrated in Buffalo, but he actually came to Minnesota in his prime and had his best seasons as a Viking.
Absolutely.
So On March 2nd, 2011, Williams announced that he would not resign with the Vikings for the 2011 season. Everything's good. I am not coming back. I'm going to finish somewhere else. So after sitting in free agency purgatory for about an off season, he ended his NFL career playing nose tackle when he officially retired on April 23rd of 2013. Pat Williams signed a one-day contract so that he could retire as a Minnesota Viking. Pat Williams now coaches at Wassman High School as a defensive line coach. Pat Williams also helped create a lineman academy located at the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. Pat Williams, you made the list this week. And my brief mention here of the player on the team that also wears the number 94, Diesel Delvin Tomlinson. I believe he deserves a mention in this barren wasteland that is number 94 for the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, Tomlinson, these last couple of years, the first couple of years he was on our team was kind of slow. A little bit of an adjustment there, but he's really come around these last 2 seasons, in my opinion. All right, he's been there for 3 years. His first year he was low.
He's been here 3. This was his 3rd year. Yeah.
I was gonna say, okay. Yeah, his first year it took him a little bit, but these last 2 he's really starting to live up to that contract that we expected when he came in. So, with that being said, Delvin, you got an honorary mention this week on my list, and next week we'll be tackling number 95.
All right. And with
which
that,
I also expect to be pretty barren as well.
Yeah, hasn't been a lot of those either. But with that, that is all we've got for this week. Again, want to thank everybody for watching, for tuning in, whether it be YouTube, whether it be the audio channels. If you've not done so yet, please hit that red subscribe button down there below Lance. Helps us out a ton. Hit the little bell. It'll tell you anytime we post any new content to our YouTube page. I want to give a big shout out to our buddies over at Minnesota Sports Talk, also Purple and Gold for Days, and under their blanket of the Purple Code. They have affectionately taken us in as part of their extended family now. I've been on their show a couple of times here in the last 2 weeks. Did an impromptu vent line with Justin and Dave for over an hour on Sunday after the game was over.
Nice.
Really good dudes. Enjoyed working with them on some stuff here, and I think there's room for more collaboration with them in the future here as well.
Absolutely.
So, other than that, a lot of stuff coming up this off season. You know, we'll start breaking down draft prospects and things like that pretty soon. You know, the new season, or 23 season, starts in March, so we'll be watching roster moves and cuts and trades and things like that.
I might have to go back and watch some old VU episodes to see what we did after last season.
We'll make it work. We got some potential guests lined up, working on some more here too, so we'll have that, and all kinds of good stuff for you guys. So even though the Vikings season is over, Vikings Uncensored is not done. We will continue on during the off season, bringing you all the latest Vikings content, NFL related content, draft work, free agency, all of that stuff, Viking stories, all the good stuff that we can find to bring you guys. We're going to bring it to you. So stay tuned, because we're not going anywhere, and we got plenty of stuff to talk about. So with that, why don't you take us home, Lance?
It's perfect. You wrapped it up really well this week. With that being said, we will see you guys next week. All and right. I will have a better send off for you then.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Skol.